Welcome back to another episode of Hard in the Paint with your boy JBobby and ISO. This is a segment where I go one-on-one with you, and I'm going to keep it quick and short. Listen, Anthony Edwards getting your side chick pregnant, use a condom, man. Let's keep it easy as that. Now you lost 100K, send the video. All right, fellas. How you doing?
Safe sex with JBobby.
Yeah, exactly.
It's important
You know
for all you kids out there.
Hey, that health course in high school did me great.
Hell yeah.
All right.
How we feeling?
Listen, man, how you guys doing?
You know, I'm mixed emotions right now in this moment.
We got a
but
fucking
I'm
show
excited.
last night.
Yeah, we did. Some NBA basketball, regular season ball at its finest.
We gonna get to that, but you know, 12 is outside. You know what I'm saying? It's a parade inside my city, yeah. Demon home, pussy. So, I mean, what do you guys think about Ja's, game winner, return, explosive second half? What's your thoughts?
He's a dog, man.
Yo, I agree.
That's what I'll let you go for it.
I mean, it felt like, and I didn't realize it until I saw him back, like the NBA was not whole with Ja Morant not in there. He's too exciting. He's too much fun. I don't care about the off-court stuff. It's not what I care about. I care about on the court and on the court. It's a lot of fun to watch. And he obviously hit the game winner, and that was sick, but that game was so much easier for Desmond Bane and Triple J. Triple J, he can just sit in the dunker spot, and it's so much easier for him to score, and it's easier for Ja to score just because of the pressure they both create. Same thing with Bane when he's shooting a three. He's getting way more space because of all the attention draw drives. This was a whole new Grizzlies team. I was impressed.
I think I relate it best to like when Nick Saban gets 3 to 4 weeks to prepare for a Cincinnati in college football. It's like Ja Morant not being able to play for 25 straight games and have the momentum and have the revenge mentality to come in there. He had never looked better. He had never looked more dominant. I was never more confident to see a guy hit a game winner than in that possession. You saw Ja Morant go once, go twice. He said, everyone out the way, I'm doing this spin move, and I'm going to finish this. And in the moment, it was like, how is he going to make this shot? He had like 4 guys on him.
It was good defense.
Great defense. Yeah. And the shot that he hit, I have said in the past that Ja Morant makes the Memphis Grizzlies worse. And you heard me just say that. I fully admit to saying that in the past. And I'm here to tell you right now, that narrative has been completely silenced, shut down. This brother, Ja Morant, he goes into Memphis and he makes them a completely different team.
Listen, man, I've been saying Ja Morant makes the Memphis Grizzlies a playoff team. And Ja Morant said he kept receipts. So he kept receipts.
He kept my receipt, maybe.
And he went off. I think Ja Morant is still a top 3-point guard in the league. I think when you look at it, they asked him, it was like, what do you think about Jalen Brunson and Tyrese Halliburton being labeled better than you? And he said, I can't do anything about that. I just go and play my game.
That's such a dumb question.
And like my thing is just like Ja Morant, he understood the question. I don't care what you say. If you're a hooper, you hear those questions and you don't take them lightly. So that second half, he had something to prove. He had to get his legs underneath him. Obviously, he wasn't in game shape, but he got into the flow. He got into the zone. So I think that Ja Morant will continue to prove that he's a top 3-point guard in the league, and that he'll take off and send the Memphis Grizzlies to the playoffs. And I do think the Memphis Grizzlies have to make a trade because they have to give that man some help. He cannot do it all by himself. Desmond Bane and JJ are great, but that's not enough because outside of that, they are hurting bad.
They got 7 games to climb. They're 7 games back at the 10, so they got work to do.
Do they make the playoffs?
They make the playoffs.
I think the season is too long for them not to make the playoffs, and Ja Morant is too much of a superstar for them not to make the playoffs. We haven't
even hit All-Star break yet.
Yeah.
So they can literally –
they're chilling.
He can get in shape, get into his rhythm, and then at second half when they come back, they can make that run, and they could definitely get a play.
They're one of the better regular season basketball teams. Ja Morant and the Memphis Grizzlies, I mean, the past couple of years, they've been dominant. I would expect them nothing less than finding a way to win 20 of 25, you know? They're going to go on a run.
They got to make some trades, though. I think they make some trades. They got some more glue guys. I don't want to forget about the loss of Steven Adams, the loss of Brandon Clark. We all clown on him, but Dylan Brooks was important to that team. Those guys weren't really replaced. Let's see him get some glue guys.
Who would they want to trade for? Is there some player out there right now on the trade market that you say, hey, Memphis gets them, and my goodness, they look scary?
I like Bogdanovich out of Detroit.
Okay. Interesting. I mean,
why is that funny, Kondo?
Bogdanovich making them scary as
fuck. All right, well, maybe
you get a guy like
Bogdanovich.
I'm thinking more like a Zach LaVine.
That's what I mean. I don't think they're going to trade for Zach LaVine.
Like a DeMar DeRozan, I mean, if the Lake Show goes in the way of Zach LaVine, DeMar's on the market.
I don't think the Lakers make the push for LaVine anymore. I think that ship has sailed. I think if the Grizzlies could convince LaVine to go there, I think it would be a good fit just because of like you get somebody to take the pressure off Ja Morant.
High flyers in Memphis.
Exactly. That's what you want. It'd be entertaining that we like. They'll be fun. But I don't think that's a possibility. Yeah. But they do need to get somebody to get them some help because they need another bucket.
Is there any move that the Grizzlies could make to make them a title contender team this year, or is that just out of the question?
Fuck no.
I just don't think we've seen so many teams become better at the trade deadline this year, but then they lose in the playoffs because they don't have the chemistry or a guy gets hurt. It's just you're trying to rope together too much at once. We're not at the All-Star break yet. We're not at the trade deadline yet, but it's so hard for them to get better and then tie it all together and then go win a championship. I think you make some moves and you get better to, stay contending and remain a destination that maybe people want to go play at next year, but getting to a championship this year is a lot to ask. Let's get to the playoffs first.
I don't think, and we've said a lot of great things about Ja Morant this episode, but I don't think Ja Morant is a championship caliber point guard. I don't think Ja Morant can be the point guard on a championship team.
I don't know how can you say that?
Explain to me. If he's a top 3 point guard in the league, why can't he be a championship caliber point guard?
I just think he's too much of the spotlight. He's too much of a star player.
That's not a reason why you don't win.
Why did I always say
you don't win or lose basketball?
Why did I always say that Ja Morant makes the Memphis Grizzlies worse? It's because when you get to playoff time,
and then you just flipped
and that was a bad
he
take.
Makes them better.
1,000%, but they're not a championship team.
Good players.
It's like Josh Allen on the Buffalo Bills. It's the same thing.
If you're a point guard that makes your team better, you give your team a chance to win a championship.
Sure.
So how can that be true? Saying that Ja isn't a championship point guard,
you don't know that also
because he hasn't had enough.
Like
Triple J is great, Bane is great, but they're not enough to get you over the hump. So he hasn't had that much potential. Like somebody like Jason Tatum has had all the fucking help in the world and has not won a championship. So I mean, you say Jason Tatum's a great player and he's a superstar and he's a top 5 player in the league. He's had all the talent in the world and has not got him there. Now, Ja Morant, he has not had the same, but he's taken a team that isn't that good or maybe less talented and then elevated.
We just saw how awful they are without him.
Exactly.
I talked about those pieces they lost too, but still, they were terrible.
I think if you put another superstar caliber kind of guy next to Ja Morant, it diminishes the greatness of that superstar. Because Ja Morant's going to take away the spotlight.
Dude, they're professional basketball players.
But we see this all the time in the NBA.
We also see guys
Ja Morant doesn't fit
away
with good players.
You don't know that.
Let me realize
you don't know that.
Your take is like what they thought AI was, right? AI was a ball-dominant point guard, shooting guard, or whatever the fuck he was, and they thought that he couldn't play with anybody else because he had to have the ball in his hand. He had to be the center of the offense.
Like Prime Russ, right? Is that what you're saying?
No. Come on, what are we doing?
Is that what I mean? Is that the
No, I actually like I like the AI comparison a lot. I do
because he was one of the most electrifying players in the league. And
yes,
you loved him, and he transitional, and then like what he brought to the game and the culture.
This is no hate on his ability.
Yeah, and he brought that team to the finals. Now, when you look at Ja Morant, that may be the same thing in a sense, but like even then, like AI still didn't have anybody notable. He had like Eric Snow and Aaron McKee.
If you get AI a star. He's a professional basketball player. He's a great basketball player. He's going to learn to adjust and play off the guy. So will Ja Morant. He's playing this way now because there is no true other star. You don't know what would happen if they traded for a LeBron James. That's obviously not going to happen, but just to give an example, these guys will figure it out. They're good at what they do.
Do you not like Ja Morant? Do you not like 12? 12 is good for you. It's good for the Celtics.
I hate the narrative of good basketball players getting told that they are not championship players because they haven't won a championship yet. If you're a good player, so many things have to go into winning a championship.
Yes.
Let me ask you this. I don't want to spend too much time. I don't want to spend any time. I just want a yes or no.
What?
Is Russell Westbrook a championship player?
He could be.
No, he's not, and he will never be.
He could be because he might be on a championship team in the LA Clippers because they won 8 straight.
You can figure it out. Like, I have faith that guys can figure it out and recognize their strengths and their weaknesses and move on from it. Don't just buy the hype of the past, or dishype, I should say.
James Harden might be back to prime MVP form in Houston. And the reason why I say that is because that Halliburton showing that he showed that young man out when he made 4 3 straight in the fourth quarter. That was vintage James Harden. Obviously, we want him to keep that same like energy going, being consistent. But the fact that the Clippers have won 8 straight and they figured it out, and Russ is coming off the bench, that is pretty fucking scary. Because if you can get Kawhi's happy. He's happy. He's having fun. You see the chemistry there. I think they all love each other. They both got braids. PG is playing well. He's doing his part. I feel like, because even like when PG first came, he was getting like 8 points, or he couldn't figure out what the fuck he wanted to do. And now they're just meshing and meshing well. I think that's scary for the West, just because I think when you look at the Clippers, they only have a small window, and they know that. And the push is coming for desperation mode. And when you're desperate, you get hungry. And I think the Clippers doing it. Now, I said James Harden and the Clippers wasn't going to win shit, but I might change my mind.
That's crazy.
I mean, that comes around to my earlier point where I said it didn't look good for the Clippers a couple weeks ago, but there's still great players on that roster. They're going to figure it out. And it seems like they have figured it out. Good players will figure it out. They'll at least be competent. They'll at least be good.
Yeah.
I don't know if they'll win a championship, but there was nowhere to go but up from what they were, and they've shown that they have climbed up. What are your thoughts? I
don't know, man.
I want Jack's take on this.
It's the same old Clippers. Like, we understand this. We understand that they're having a great time. We understand that Russell Westbrook, James Harden, and Paul George, throw Kawhi in the mix, but he ain't going out with the team the night before. I know who is going out the night before. It's Paul George, Russell Westbrook, James Harden. They're having a fantastic time. They're living their best life. But is this a championship team? Nah, they're falling short.
I think we could be bamboozled, and we could be getting the same rope-a-dope that we get. Remember when James Harden had that playoff game where we were like, oh, shit, he's back.
I think saying that he was back was just a little disrespectful to Houston Harden because he was doing that night in, night out. What we got from Harden the other night was his best performance in his last 5 games, and it really wasn't close, whereas Houston Harden was doing that every single night. Now, it's better for this Clippers team to have nerfed Harden, I guess I should say, because he's going to play to the guy's strengths around him, and he's going to be able to put the ball through the hoop like he did when they need him to, because they needed him to do it the other night. But on a night when, Kawhi's got it going, or there's not a lot of guys on the wings who can guard him and PG, you want to kick it out to those guys and be a facilitator.
So would you rather like the Philadelphia version of James Harden or the Houston version of James Harden? Because when you say the nerfed version of James Harden, I take that as he's the Philadelphia guy that isn't as confident, might have his big games here and there, but there's the inconsistencies. Wouldn't you rather have that 35-point-a-game James Harden on this Clippers team to, potentially take them over the edge?
It's somewhere in between those two things you described. I don't want him.
They got to make it work.
I don't want him taking contested shots over and over again when you have Paul George and Kawhi Leonard on your team, but you want him more engaged than he was in Philly. So it's a little bit of both.
I think I agree to Jack's point. I think you need max fucking James Harden, because I think if you can get that and you can figure it out around him, then I think that I feel like basketball is about making everybody's life easier, right? So if you got a consistent scorer that comes in and out night, because one night you're not going to be that guy. One night you're just going to have a bad night and somebody else is going to have to pick up the slack. But you all can't just be like, all right, whose turn is it? Like, everybody has to be aggressive and attack and keep coming like Oladipo will say. But you gotta, like, whatever happens, you have to be aggressive. And I think the problem with like the Clippers in the beginning, they were all too like passive. And I feel like if they all get into that mode, like, I'm trying to score, I'm trying to be a killer every night, I want to get 30, I think that puts them in a better position than like, all right, let me nerf myself, let me put myself in a shell because I want this person to be great, or I'm not trying to step on anybody's toes. No, step on their toes and then get comfortable with everybody and then figure out what your role is and how you're going to do it. Chemistry isn't about being comfortable. It's about being uncomfortable. So the minute you do that and the minute you figure it out, like maybe you make a bad shot and Paul George's like, don't take that shot. That's a bad shot. You're like, right. But then because you took that shot, that's not a good shot, so you get to your spot. So I think it's all about being uncomfortable but being aggressive.
When like the era of us not understanding whether Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown could play together, and how most nights it would be like either Tatum would go for 30 or Brown would go for 30, but they never knew how to truly play with each other. And I feel like we're seeing that with the Clippers. Can they get – it's kind of the point you just made. Like, if once Tatum and Brown were able to realize they can both get 30, that's when it was like, God damn, this Celtics team is different. They're dangerous. When the Clippers realized that Paul George can go for 30, Kawhi can go for 30, Harden can go for 30, and Westbrook can give you 15 assists, that's when they realized they're at their dangerous point and they can play together and all be making effective, situations. At the end of the day, when Tatum and Brown were going back and forth, and it was like whether it's Tatum's team or Brown's team, that's what brings problems. You got to find a way to play together.
That's what I was saying to you last week when I was like, the Celtics need to swing the rock and use the 5 great stars that they have and not just have one guy take the ball and cook.
Yes. What I'm referring to is the Celtics of I'm trying to bring up the year. It was basically the year before
the energy
before
shifted.
they went before the Jaylen Brown energy shift tweet. That is when the Celtics played like it was Jason Tatum's ball every other possession and Jaylen Brown's ball every other possession. Mm-hmm. There was no true offense. It was just which guy can get the cookies in a given night, and that's just not how you win basketball.
Yeah. I agree with you. Yeah,
good talk.
I'm still
listen, bro. Going to a team that's figuring it out to a team that can't figure it out, and that is the Detroit Pistons. The Detroit Pistons might be the worst team in NBA history. And the reason why I say that, because it's becoming so uncompetitive at a certain point where you're just like, Giannis is chilling with his kids mid-fourth quarter. The fucking Celtics are – I'm not the Celtics. The 76ers are laughing at the Detroit Pistons while they're sitting on the bench. Cade, obviously, he doesn't have the talent around him, but I think at one game he had like 4 fucking points. And I know it happens. Sometimes you have bad games, but 4 points is unacceptable on a team that's bad when you have the ball majority of the time. You are the facilitator. I think that is an issue. Maybe worst team of all time, but are they going to get past maybe 15 wins? I don't know.
He hasn't always been the facilitator. I mean, I'll say this. He had 43 points the other night, and there's a reason he had 43 points, and it's because Killian Hayes was on the bench. Because Killian Hayes does not stretch the floor and does not give Cade Cunningham any space to operate whatsoever. That team has a horrible spacing problem. And Monty Williams just got quoted like last week where he was like, oh, I'm starting to realize if I go through these lineups, like I can see like we can space things out with different guys, and it's going to open things up. It is December. How are you figuring that out now?
I think that
their center rotation is also horrible. You have 4 young centers in Marvin Bagley, Wiseman, Isaiah Stewart, and Jalen Duren. Duren's better than all those guys. But how the hell are all 4 of those guys going to develop at the same time? What their roster construction makes absolutely zero sense. That Monty Williams contract is trouble.
Let me hook this, right?
Go ahead.
The Detroit Pistons might be the worst team of all time, right? Let me tell you why. They are 2-25. They're good? Okay. They are on a 24-game losing streak, and it doesn't look like it's going to change. They're, above 500, your winning percentage is at .74.
That's crazy, bro.
I just don't understand.
Ladies and gentlemen, Josh Donaldson's batting average.
Exactly. And I just don't understand how you can even get that team out of the mud. It's just like it's no hope. And the only team that's better than them is the Wizards. And the Wizards, they're interchangeable, but I think the Wizards are going to at least win like 12 games.
Yeah.
The Pistons, I can't see. I don't know if they get to 5. All right. Do the Detroit Pistons get to 5 games this season?
5?
What are they at right now?
Yeah, I think
1?
so.
What's their record?
They are 2-25.
They're 2-25.
2, and they're getting blown out, bro.
So they're about a third of the way there. So they're more or less on pace for 6.
All right. So how many games do we think the Detroit Pistons win at the end of the season?
I'll give them 10.
Can I get a schedule? I need a schedule.
Yeah, I'll look at
I
this.
need to see a schedule.
I give them.
It pains me to say it, but I think they're going to beat the Nets in one of these 2 back-to-backs because they play each other one game. They play each other right after I can't think of the way to say this.
Can you just put the computer in front of me real quick?
They play the Nets 2 times in a row, and I feel like the Nets have been a shaky team. Sometimes they look like real competitors. They looked like absolute ass cheeks against the Utah Jazz the other night. You get 2 shots at a team, there's always a chance you can take one of them.
All right.
I don't care who you are.
Detroit can win on January 27th against the Washington Wizards. Maybe they get 2 in a row. Here, this is what's going to happen. They're gonna beat the Charlotte Hornets. The Detroit Pistons will win 2 more games for the rest of the season. They're gonna win 4 total games. They're gonna beat they're gonna beat the Charlotte Hornets.
Detroit, stand up.
They're gonna beat the Charlotte Hornets on Wednesday, January 24th, and they're gonna go back to back. They're gonna win 2 games in a row. They're gonna have themselves a little win streak. They're gonna beat the Washington Wizards on January 27th, and they will not win another game for the rest of the season.
Honestly, if they play the Lakers February 13th, they beat the Lakers.
Nah, bro. I watched them play the Lakers. We talked
The Lakers
about it. It was
lost to the
varsity
fucking
JV.
Spurs.
Dude,
Yeah, that's
what we're going to get is, so they play the Spurs the last game of the season. That's going to be the tanking, like, Super Bowl, I bet. Like, the ultimate, like, Sacco.
For Bronny James.
Sure. The Spurs only got 4 wins, so it's not looking good there either.
I don't know. I just know with the Lakers and how they operate and how they don't give a fuck sometimes, and like LeBron's teams, they just be losing to like anybody for no reason. Like when they lost to the Spurs, they had no reason losing to the Spurs, bro. Like they just mailed it in.
I feel like everyone is looking, because there's been so much talk about this losing streak with the Pistons, that everyone is looking at their schedule and seeing when they play the Pistons next, and is like, oh God, I hope that's not us who loses to the Pistons and allows them to beat that streak, because that's going to be embarrassing. Not as embarrassing as losing 20 games in a row or however many it's been, but no one wants to be that guy.
Yeah, no one wants to be that guy that fucking ejects players out the game, right? Because when you do, you get hate mail and death threats. But my thing is like,
From Jokic's brothers.
The NBA needs a second opinion on ejections. And what I mean by that, if we're doing reviews and we're calling New York about somebody stepping out of fucking balance, I think we need reviews on like what the ejection protocol is, because somebody turning to you and making a weird face doesn't warrant an ejection, right? Because the reason why it doesn't, because one, fans could pay money to come see the player. When Jokic got ejected or when Tatum got ejected, that's not what your fans are paying for. That's ridiculous. Like if it's not something that's vulgar or something that's way out of pocket, then I think the players should play the game. Give them, what we should do? We should set up a warning system, right? Obviously, you give them a tech. You get 3 techs, right? If you go beyond, like I give you the warning, you get a tech. Give you another warning, give you a tech. And then but it comes to like, say if it's like 2 fouls, right? 2 points. You get 2 shots. The next one, you get 3 shots. The next one, you get 4 shots and an ejection. So if you get all those 3, then that allows you to get out, because you had the warnings, right? You know what's coming. Like I gave you your 3rd fucking time. That would be great for a person like Draymond. Yeah. And I think that my thing is just like, I'm tired, especially as a betting person. I'm tired of watching the games and somebody get fucking ejected and my ticket is blown out. I have an agenda. Don't get me wrong, but as a fan too, like I don't want to see Jason Tatum get ejected, because why the fuck am I watching the game now?
I don't want to see Jason Tatum get ejected either. But I look at it, and as much as I agree with your point, and the ejections have honestly been ridiculous, and fans are paying to see their star players. You eject, what was it, Jokic on like Serbian internet, whatever night it was in Chicago. So I sit here and say, how, as a referee, do you take the ability of them to just toss a guy out of a game, like bang a guy in the spot, bang a coach in the spot, and
Pause.
say, as the second I started saying that, and then I repeated myself and decided to say it a second time.
In the spot. That's what made it crazy. I was like,
But anyways, you can't like say, all right, Jason Tatum, you're gone. Goes to the locker room, and then you bring him back out. So you would then have to eliminate a referee from having the ability to essentially toss anybody in the moment, right? That heat of the moment toss by a referee is like a signature move. They live their life to do that.
But we don't need that.
Nobody needs that. 1,000%. So do you take that ability for a referee to say, Tatum, you're gone, and make it 3 technical fouls, and it becomes more of a review process?
Yes, as long as it doesn't slow down the game a lot, I think that's fine.
It's going
I have an idea that's kind of like silly. Like the thought of Nikola Jokic like sitting in a little glass cage for like 10 minutes is really funny to me. But like a penalty box, something where it's like, all right, go sit in the cage for a little while, and it's
Draymond
like
would be in there every night.
I like that.
You get like 10 minutes to cool down. The guy cools down, the ref cools down, and it's like you're not throwing him out of the whole game, and it's still you're paying for whatever the hell you did, because you're not allowed to check in and play for your team for however long the penalty goes for. it's a little goofy, but
No,
I've heard worse
the NBA
ideas.
should implement penalty box.
Or at least just make him sit on the bench. You don't got to put him in a glass.
No,
I
like,
think kind of
that would be
crazy.
more
It would be hilarious.
It would be, and talk about
Jokic
like
just like banging on the wall.
when a guy goes to the locker room after he gets injured and then he comes back and runs out the tunnel, it's the most electric thing during that game. When Jason Tatum rolls his ankle and runs back out in the TD Garden, it's
Yeah,
the most electric
that would
thing.
get the
It would
fans
be the
excited.
same exact thing if you put Nikola Jokic in a penalty box for 10 minutes in the third quarter, then he comes back in the fourth quarter and wins the game. It would honestly make NBA very, very entertaining, and it would put a different
I
twist
just
to
think
it.
there just needs to be a different set of protocols when it comes to ejection, bro. Like you can't just toss somebody out because you didn't like what they said.
Yeah.
And I think that it's better. It would be better for the sport. It would be better for the game. Like when somebody gets into a fight, like Draymond Green, and he fucking throws a fucking haymaker. That's an ejection.
That's an easy one.
Come on, that's the easy one. We know that. That's understandable. That's hurting somebody. But ref, you made a stupid fucking call. Ejection. Nah, I'm not jacking that.
Yeah.
I'm not jacking that at all. Listen, I don't know if you're a Celtics fan or Golden State fan. You're kind of confusing me. You know, you're a guy that's from Connecticut that somehow is a Boston fan because Connecticut doesn't have a team. I understand that. But now you think Steph Curry is the greatest player of all time. And my thing is with you, brother. Who were you really rooting for last night?
Yeah, no, I appreciate.
You better have been rooting for this.
No, I was gonna say I appreciate Stephen Curry's greatness and I soak it in. I truly do. But I cheer for the Boston Celtics every single time that matchup happens. But man, it just seems like Steph Curry time and time again it's like, what's the Boston Celtics kryptonite? Stephen Curry.
Oh, I got a whole rant, so you can go.
I agree, but the Celtics lost that game, I think, when Jason Tatum got a little bit hurt. I've been shitting on Tatum for his shot selection, and at the end of last night, I was like, why is he taking a contested three at a tie game? That makes absolutely zero sense. It's simple math. Maybe it was because he couldn't drive to the hoop because of the ankle, whatever. I will say, though, what made zero sense at all was the first possession of overtime, and it got that stadium rocking, was when he's bringing the ball up, and Chris Paul is on him, and he passes it away, and then waits till Kuminga switches onto him and then calls for the ball. It's Kuminga dunk at the other end. Jason Tatum late game execution needs to be better.
I'll let you go, but let me just say this about Jason
The
Tatum.
injury, maybe I can accept as an excuse, but I've seen that from him before, and he holds the ball too long. He takes contested shots. Chris Paul is on you. Go to the fucking rim.
Listen, Jason Tatum's a learner. He's a winner. He's going to understand how to adjust.
I love the way you rationalize
He's
these
a
moments.
learner.
I truly understand his ability to fuck up late in games.
It's a hard thing to do.
What
I
he
sure
did,
as hell couldn't do it. But
I've seen that exact moment where the Celtics are tied with a team or down one, and it's a Jason Tatum final shot, and he just does not capitalize in the moment.
the play is that inbound play. They got wide open to Al Horford where they got rim penetration where they kicked it out. That's what I'm talking about. Play as a team. You got the best five. Use all five. Don't use the one guy.
But it's moments like that where you understand that if Jason Tatum makes that three, that's one of the greatest moments in the history of life, and we'll never forget that
For
three-pointer.
you.
Listen, man. Jason Tatum is 25. He's been in the league for quite some time now, and he's I don't know what Jason Tatum is, and this is not a slander to Jason Tatum, but Jason Tatum rolled his ankle, so you can use that as a scapegoat. I get it, but that man had 15 points last night against a team that beat him in the fucking finals. I feel like this is a moment for you to step on their fucking throats to assert your dominance. And yeah, I said that Boston Celtics ain't shit without KP, and I'm fucking right. They are not shit without KP. They won't win anything without KP. The fact that KP isn't available is scary to me right now, and Boston fucking fan base should be shaking in their fucking space boots. And listen, man, I This is my thing about Tatum, right?
Mm-hmm.
Tatum 1 second will look like the greatest player ever fucking invented, like the next fucking Kobe, LeBron James, like the fucking GOAT, the MVP, somebody that's just fucking generational and disgusting. And then the next minute, he'll look like fucking Sam Cassell. No shot to Sam Cassell, but what I mean by that is just like you'll go from like looking amazing to average. And I don't know what the fuck is the problem with them boys over there. They're so inconsistent. And maybe they need to think about this. They gave Jaylen Brown too much fucking money, right? Because obviously him and Jason Tatum, they don't mix as well as we think that they do. They don't. And I think the problem is that maybe that Jason Tatum doesn't get into a zone well enough, or he doesn't get comfortable enough because Jaylen Brown's out there and they have to figure out who's going to be the more ball dominant player, right? And I feel like with Jason Tatum, I get so confused sometimes because I don't know which Jason Tatum I'm going to get, not in each game, in a fucking quarter. So I'm just kind of pissed off at Jason Tatum and his performance last night, and I'm just like, I was kind of disgusted. I'm not going to front.
Jason Tatum is like the girl that I was in love with back sophomore year of college, and she friend zoned me and continued to friend zone me time and time again. And you get that sliver of hope. You get that appreciation that this girl could be the love of your life. This is the most beautiful girl in the history of life. But at the end of the day, she keeps doing the same thing. She says, "Hey, I just want to be friends," or "Hey, nah, I'm gonna go hook up with this other dude." Jason Tatum.
I hate when Jason Tatum goes and hooks up with other dudes, bro. It's the fucking worst.
Maybe that analogy went south.
Nah, you're chilling, bro.
Vibes. Go ahead. You done?
Yeah. I'm done.
No,
God bless Jason Tatum. I'll have my final statement on the game last night. Yes, he falls short. He continues to fall short. I understand it. I soak it in. We just got to keep going. We got to keep fighting. I see the hope. I see the faith. I am the faith. Jason Tatum one day will prove every one of y'all wrong. He's still young, man. He is still young.
He's only 19.
He is only 19.
It's true. Many people are saying this.
Were you saying that Jason Tatum is being held back by Jaylen Brown?
I mean, that's my only conclusion at this point. Like, what can I like? I think that games are about rhythm, right? And I think that when you have to share some of that rhythm with another player that's I don't want to say ball dominant, but somebody that needs to get off too, I think that can fuck up your rhythm as a player when you're not getting as much shots, you're not getting in a certain rhythm. You got to pass or you got to defer sometimes or whatever, the ball doesn't go through you. I think that can fuck up your rhythm as a player. Now, do I know if that's the real answer? No, but I have no answer for what Jason Tatum gives me in one quarter and in the second.
They still don't play off each other enough, going to it like times where they'll take turns. Like run the two-man game. Have Tatum screen for Jaylen Brown. He'll come off the screen. If he's got a shot, if he's got the space, shoot. If he can drive, shoot it. If there's no space, odds are Tatum's got some space off the roll. Like there's the Celtics offense is like you got a Corvette and you just want to drive it like 20 miles per hour.
I remember when Tatum was saying something about that year after they went to the conference finals and lost to LeBron was their best team, like one of the best teams they had. Golden State, I think Kevin Durant got injured. It was the year Toronto won it, and Boston had Kyrie Irving, had Gordon Hayward, had all these guys.
Is that when they lost to the Bucks?
They lost to the Bucks, right? And Tatum, I remember him saying something along the lines of like, that was one of our better chances. That was one of our better teams. But I think they didn't play together that well. And we saw Tatum and Brown play as good together as we've ever seen them play the past 2 seasons. And they adjust because you lose Marcus Smart. You have a different team. You bring in Kristaps Porzingis, Drew Holiday, Derek White's playing his best ball. It's going to take time for Brown and Tatum to understand, yeah, they're going to have to go for 30 a night each, and that's what we want them to do. But to play with guys like Derek White, who now has to score, a guy like Drew Holiday, who's going to have to get his, Kristaps Porzingis, they're just learning. They're adjusting. This is a completely different team than what it has been in the past 2 years.
So let me end with this.
Okay.
Do you think Jaylen Brown is holding Jason Tatum back?
No, they're a two-headed monster.
From winning an MVP, but winning an MVP isn't as important as winning a championship.
Correct. Great take.
Got you, bro.
If your legacy, if you're trying to be the GOAT, it's important. You need both. But listen, holidays are around the fucking corner. You know, Christmas, Feliz Navidad to some of y'all that speak that language. I want to know, because we have this debate before. NBA Christmas or NFL Thanksgiving? Which one is better?
I'll let you cook first.
I feel like over the past couple of years, it's NBA Christmas is way better than Thanksgiving, and it's really not close. The only pitfall against NBA Christmas was that it was when the Lakers sucked and the Knicks sucked, and the NBA would walk them out and they would trash it up. And like that was one thing where I was like, okay, like what are we doing here? The NFL, well, with that in the NBA, there's 4 other teams, and you can always pick the best teams, and you get a way better product. The NFL, it's only 3 games, and 2 of them have to be the Lions or the Cowboys. There's a lot less room for error, especially when you got a team like Detroit. They were good this year, but they've been notorious for sucking. The other half of it is that the highlight of Christmas is in the morning. You're passing around gifts and stuff. That's all the fun stuff. And then the games start at noon. So it's a perfect schedule. Whereas football is going on through the day. There's games in the afternoon and in the evening. The highlight of Thanksgiving is eating dinner. So if you're like me and your mom's like, hey, no TV while you're eating your dinner, then it ruins it. I guess a lot.
That doesn't happen to me. I'm going to
All
watch.
right. Whatever.
Yeah, I
Sorry, I wasn't ready for that.
NBA Christmas and what the NBA does with Christmas Day, it creates the best possible matchups. And this year more than ever, we look at the matchups and we'll talk about them, but it's brilliant. It's the stars of all stars. So I look at it as if you want to debate the two and you look at NBA Christmas versus NFL Thanksgiving, the NFL would have to do this with Thanksgiving to make it as good as NBA Christmas. They would have to put, I mean, you could add a 9 o'clock game, but if you don't add the 9 o'clock game and you have your 3 games, the NFL should have done this. They should have had, I have 3 matchups here. I got Lions versus Eagles for your 1 o'clock, 12 o'clock, whatever it is game. You got to throw the Lions in there, right? Because of tradition. Okay, I understand that. So you get Lions, Eagles as your first game. Then you go to the Cowboys at 4:25, and you have them play the 49ers. That's what the NBA does on Christmas. They get the best matchups. They get the brightest of the lights. Make this a legit holiday for the NFL, and it is. It always will be. But if you want it to be the best version, you put the Cowboys against the 49ers at 4:25, and then you round it out with Bills-Chiefs at 8:20. And you make it the 3 best possible games you could possibly create. I don't know why they don't do this. You could even throw Dolphins, Ravens at 9 a.m., and it would be a whole 4-game, beautiful football celebration on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I'm going to go NBA just because the slate, especially this year, is so fucking good. But I do think that, like, sometimes with the NBA games of Christmas, you can skip over a few, right? You have 2 games that are mostly circle. They're mostly towards the end of the night or, like, evening. But I think with the NFL, I think that you watch it in Thanksgiving because it's just tradition. Like,
It's
your
just
whole
on.
family is going to watch that.
Yeah.
I don't know if your whole family sits down and watch NBA Christmas games.
They better.
They could, but I feel like it's just like, I feel like people that don't even watch football on like the regular watch NFL Christmas. I mean, NFL Christmas, shit. NFL Thanksgiving games just because that's what their family is doing. That's just a tradition. I don't know.
So
if
why
anybody-
doesn't the NFL maximize on it and put the 3 best games? I understand you got to have Detroit, you got to have the Cowboys, but if Detroit's good, the Cowboys are usually pretty darn good, or at least going to bring a good game. Why don't they make it the 3 best possible games?
why?
Because
Because
the
they got a
NFL is
schedule
run
before.
by old white men who are like, oh, tradition, we always do it this way, and it's not fun.
America. You know why? Cowboys and Indians, baby. They used to be the what? I'm not gonna let you say it, but they used to be that R word. so the Cowboys and the R words on fucking Thanksgiving. It was a reason for that. I mean, that's why they did it. You know what I'm saying? Marketing, sales.
You
all
make
that.
history come alive.
You know what I'm saying? It's a beautiful, it's a beautiful thing.
But like to round out my point, I think for NBA Christmas right now, I want to say that the 2 I mean, there's 5 really good games, but I look at the 2 games being Celtics, Lakers, and Nuggets, Warriors. Those are kind of your 2 marquee matchups for Thanksgiving or for Christmas. I would put Cowboys, 49ers, and Bills, Chiefs to the same standard as those 2 games. And that's what I would compare those NFL games to. You're just not getting the games in the NFL right now on Thanksgiving the way that you get the games for the NBA.
Fair point. I'm not disagreeing with you, brother. I can't lie. I've been staring at this doc and I've been confused. Mirror teams?
Oh, I brought this up.
I was confused.
So I saw this on Twitter a couple days ago, And there are these things called mirror teams. Someone else proposed it. I don't remember who, but interesting idea nonetheless. So in the beginning of the year, it's easy. There's always a lot of teams that kind of jump out to hot starts. Some good examples are the Orlando Magic, the Indiana Pacers. But now we're starting to get into the weeds of it. Christmas is kind of like the impromptu, like when the actual like basketball season starts. So some of these teams that got out to hot starts, maybe they thought they'd be contenders, but they're really not. They're starting to look themselves in the mirror and be like, maybe we're sellers. So who do you guys think are the biggest mirror teams? What are teams that are going to have to realize over the next couple of weeks, I'm not as good as I think I am?
The Indiana Pacers.
Denver Nuggets, say it. Say it.
Nikola Jokic.
It's not top 5 again. I don't. This is tough. I mean,
I'm gonna look at some standards.
There's really no right answer because it's you never know, and it's about like taking in the hype and seeing it for what it is.
I kind of don't know because I feel like obviously you have the guys that you know is going to be. Actually,
I worry about 2 teams.
What are the teams you worry about?
I worry about the Orlando Magic.
Sure.
They turn the ball over a lot. That has consistently been a recipe for teams that get into trouble and falter towards the second half of the season.
What about the Minnesota Timberwolves?
No, they're the real deal. Timberwolves are the real deal.
Bro, I'm sorry. You can be the real deal. You can be talented as hell. But you can't be no number 1 overall seed if you're the Minnesota Timberwolves. They are going to there's only down for them right now.
I mean, literally, you're right. There's no 0.5 seed, but I think they'll be a top 3 seed. They got the best defense in the league. They got depth. They got shooting. They got size.
Nah, they fall to like 5 or 6.
That's crazy.
Jack,
I'll give you 4. I'll give you 4.
Because they're the Minnesota Timberwolves.
That is not what affects winning and losing.
The
team name and the team past
yes,
and
it
mojo does not affect winning. What affects winning is the players you have on the court, and they have a damn good team.
You know why they don't win? Rudy Gobert.
Rudy Gobert is playing the best defense of his career and anchoring the number 1 defense in the league.
History repeats itself until
in the playoffs. In the playoffs, those Utah Jazz teams were the number 1 seed, or at least top 3 seed in multiple years. They were the number 1 seed that one year. That's all we're talking about right now. I'm not saying they're going to win a championship.
You're saying towards the end of
the conversation was how far are they going to fall in the seeding, and I don't think they're going to fall much at all.
Yeah.
I think Gobert could be positioned to have. We're talking playoffs in December, so take it with a grain of salt. But could be positioned to have better success in the playoffs than before. If they play the drop, he can still do that, and for the first time, he has wings on defense that can help him out. They did not have that in Utah. There's room for improvement.
Let's not act like the Western Conference top 3 seeds are not going to be, I mean, it ain't going to be Minnesota or Oklahoma City. I'll tell you that much. Both those teams will not be 1 and 2.
So who's going to be the top 3 seeds in the West?
I mean, Denver's in prime position to cruise. Dallas is chilling. But I don't know if Dallas makes the jump to a top 3 seed. The Lakers are going to get hot. I think the Lakers, you could see the Clippers. I'm going to say Denver at 1. And I'll say the 2 LA teams.
No, the Lakers don't make it top 3.
Yeah.
The Lakers are not a top 3 team in the West in terms of seeding. Because the Lakers are going to cruise to the fucking...
They're going to be that team that either comes out of the play-in or is like the 6th seed, that the 3 is like, fuck, we got to play the Lakers because they have the talent to win. But
yeah, is this a year where we get like Minnesota, OKC, and Sacramento as your top 3 seeds?
I think Minnesota and Denver are going to be in the top 3. I would bet on that right now.
But my point is like Minnesota, OKC, and Sacramento as your top 3 seeds in the Western Conference, they're all losing first round.
Say that again.
Minnesota, Oklahoma City, and Sacramento. If those are the top 3 seeds in the Western Conference, they all lose in the first round.
I don't think that's true at all.
I mean,
you don't know who they're playing yet. Like number one.
We know.
Well, right now, Minnesota would have to play the Lakers. Oklahoma City would have
your hate against or your reasons for disliking the Timberwolves are because they're the Timberwolves. They always lose. I don't know how many times I have to say it. That's not why.
No, it's because Phoenix and Golden State are in prime position to play a team like Minnesota in the first round.
They just lost to the Trailblazers last night.
I'm taking Phoenix, Golden State over Minnesota in a playoff series.
Good luck. Golden State maybe. Not Phoenix.
All right. Games. Who's leading it off? It would be Jack.
Let's just get it. Hey, Colin, I know you're excited for this one.
Always.
JBobby, I know you might have some opinions on this one. So let's just get into it. The 3 biggest what ifs in NBA history. What if LeBron James never went to the Miami Heat?
He wins no championships.
No, I think he'd win some. I think he'd continue to get good, and there'd be guys that want to play with him. He wouldn't win as many.
0.
I think that Cleveland was never a free agent destination. Obviously, before LeBron left and came back, it changed everything. But I feel like LeBron had to leave to get those players, right? When LeBron left, they were able to get Kyrie Irving, and they were able to get Andrew Wiggins, which they traded to get Kevin Love, and they added pieces around that. I think if LeBron left, they will never get those pieces to add to that team. Even then, I think that players, yes, LeBron, you would want to go, but like by the time players were going there when LeBron was there, they were washed. The fucking GMs and the fucking Cleveland Cavaliers, they didn't do enough to get the right players to put around LeBron. They got a washed up Shaq, and Shaq was like, I'm going to bring the king a championship. No, the fuck he wasn't. They were just bringing in bad, horrible players, and I think they would have continued to do that, and that would have frustrated LeBron to a point where he would never won a championship because he would have never had the talent around him.
I still think he's too good to the point where, and we know how good he got in the coming years. There might have been some front office upheaval. There might have been some fired coaches, but him being there and being far and away the best player in the league, guys are going to want to go play with that guy. I don't care what city it is. I think like Giannis in Milwaukee, I don't think Milwaukee was ever seen as a destination, but he stayed there and got super teams by attracting guys. I think it would have taken them longer to figure it out, but he was too good for too long. The odds are he would have attracted some stars and they would have won.
I think that they did well through draft. I'm talking about the Denver Nuggets, but they also were able to get certain pieces around them because their GMs made the right moves. The Cleveland Cavaliers did not make a good fucking move. Maybe they would have got a good GM down the line. They would have pieced it together, but no. I think that LeBron probably doesn't win a championship or he just wins one.
I look at it and say every time LeBron left, it took him about a year, and then he won a championship, right? So if you just kept the greatest basketball player ever in the same spot for 25 years, doesn't that mean that he would cruise? If not, he would just they would eventually get to the point where
flawed logic. But I think anytime a guy goes to a new team, new organization, it's hard to. It takes a little while.
Which is why
that makes sense, but that doesn't mean familiarity results in championships.
He left Cleveland because he needed to beat KG and Pierce. Am I wrong about that?
Mm-hmm.
And so odds are those guys probably have a couple of rings if he doesn't go to Miami, other than just the first by KG and Pierce.
Fair.
Yeah.
Well, you guys are looking at it just from the standpoint of what if he didn't leave Cleveland. The question was, what if he didn't go to Miami? If you guys remember that offseason, he was thinking about going somewhere else.
He was looking at the Knicks for a while.
So what if LeBron James went to the New York Knicks?
Interesting.
I think he would have been very rich. I don't know if he wins the championship there. I think New York is just a hard place to win. I think LeBron, at the end of the day, LeBron made the right choice with going to Miami, but I think it was because of people like D-Wade was there, right? If he goes to the Knicks, he doesn't have anybody to help him win a championship there. So he doesn't win. Mari Stoudemire wasn't enough to win a championship.
He was good those first 2 years.
He was. But to win a championship, he's not Dwayne Wade.
You don't think no matter where LeBron went throughout his career, what happened had to have happened for him to have the success?
Because who does he play with? In that
right.
free agent market to get him a championship that year.
He was thinking about going with D-Wade to the Bulls, wasn't he?
Oh, yeah, that was a thought.
Really?
That was a thought. It was it was a thought because D-Wade is from Chicago. He could play with Rose. That would be a whole thing.
He was the best player in the East, and he dominated it. So, to me, you could throw him on any team for that 10-year stretch from 2010 to 2020, and he would do the same exact thing. And, you surround him with good players no matter what, but that's just the nature of basketball. It can't just be LeBron James. He would have recruited other guys and would have found a different situation, and I think LeBron is LeBron. He wins no matter what.
I agree.
I disagree. Go ahead.
All right. What if Kevin Durant never went to Golden State? And I'll put a twist on it. What if that Klay Thompson Game 6 doesn't happen. OKC goes to the finals that year, potentially wins it, up for debate. You would have had to play LeBron James, the Cleveland Cavaliers, but if Kevin Durant never goes to Golden State, what does that mean for Steph Curry? What does that mean for Kevin Durant's legacy?
Well, one, that means LeBron has more rings. That's first and foremost. There's nobody in their fucking mind thought that the Golden State Warriors was going to beat the Cavs again. They like that was it. I think with Kevin Durant, I think he eventually maybe wins a championship in OKC if he actually stayed. Because my thing with Kevin Durant, I'm not going to get in a rant. I just think that he had the team to win a championship in OKC. So I feel like he would eventually won a championship for OKC in that small market. It would have been great for him, and we wouldn't have looked at him as like this villain or this guy that isn't unlikable. When he made that move, he was just the most unlikable person, and he probably never recovered from that because of his tweets.
Yeah. No, it's facts. I feel like KD really never recovered from that moment. Ever since he went to Golden State, he's just been looked at a different way. We all know his talent. We all know this dude is arguably the best basketball player we've ever seen touch a ball.
And I know if he sees this, he's going to get mad at this and be like, oh, they're just saying anything now. And I'm not saying that. I'm just saying the general public opinion of you, they don't like you now, and mainly because you keep tweeting at people in these conversations. And I'm not saying you should or you shouldn't. You can do whatever you want. Don't get mad and angry in your feelings. But people don't like you because of that.
It would have probably been more interesting, too, like the NBA as a whole, if he stayed with the OKC Thunder, right?
It would have been more interesting. My answer to this might be the only time you get me to say this, is I don't fucking know. You know, there's so many different variables where I feel like one of the most forced upon rivalries, because these guys love each other, but Curry fans and KD fans love to argue about which one's better. That conversation wouldn't really be a thing anymore.
I think
LeBron would have more championships. I think that's the only truth of it. And it's what I talked about with LeBron. If he stayed in Cleveland, if KD stayed in Oklahoma City with Russ, I think those are two good enough players back then. Guys would have gone there. They would have been good for long enough where they would have had different shots at winning, and odds are they probably could have gotten one.
I'll say this. If Kevin Durant stays in Oklahoma City, they trade Russell Westbrook. And Russell Westbrook is like this black sheep that was holding KD back the whole fucking time. Because Kevin Durant, you can say what he wants, but he never really gelled with Russell Westbrook, at least on the court. And he said that he was tired of being the only guy that could make a shot. So Russ is out of there if he wants to stay there and making the decisions. But that's that.
It's a tough one, like you said. There are so many variables to it. There are so many debates with it. But at the end of the day, I think Kevin Durant going to Golden State, like LeBron James going to Miami, it changed the NBA completely. It made all these teams geared to try and beat Golden State for 3 to 5 years straight. The NBA would not be where it is right now and look the way it does, have the history that it does of the past 10 to 15 years, if Durant and LeBron stay put. You know, it's just a completely different league with maybe some loyalty, and I don't know how it looks.
Where are you going with that?
But all right, my final what if? What if Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and James Harden had three healthy seasons with the Brooklyn Nets?
They won 3 championships in a row straight. Nobody fucking beats them. Congrats, Colin.
I love this guy. Yeah. No, they definitely would have won championships. The whole argument of, I've seen people bring this up where it's like they were beating the shit out of the Bucks, the champions that year. The absolute shit. Smoked them in 2 games. Also without Harden, by the way. So the 2 of them, with the depth that they built last year, people forget Jeff Green was good that year. Blake Griffin was good that year. They had bench pieces. They were smoking the Bucks. And then Kyrie got hurt, and people say, oh, the Bucks were ahead in that game when he got hurt. The Bucks would have won anyway. No, they absolutely were not. You can't pick the 1% of the first 2.5 games that the Bucks were ahead and say that's why the Bucks would have won. They would have won at least 2. They would have won at least 2.
I remember that game. That was game 3. The Nets were beating the dog shit out of them.
It was laughable.
And then Kyrie got hurt, and then they won that game, and they hugged like they just, their life was on the line. and because they didn't think they were going to get out that fucking game.
I mean, listen to Bucks players talk about it. They talk about how they got more trauma from that series playing just Durant alone than the actual NBA Finals.
And Durant almost did it by himself.
And their path that
they had
year
to play the fucking Hawks.
Would have been the Hawks, and then would have been the Suns. It would have been cakewalk. It would have been
GG's.
I would have been I would be a much happier person too, probably.
Yeah, they win. The Brooklyn Nets, if they're healthy, they win 3 championships straight, back to back to back.
Quickly before you move on, I just thought of a fourth. If Draymond Green doesn't get suspended in 2016 in Game 5,
Cavs still win. No, fuck them. I'm not even entertaining that shit, man. Cavs still win.
Nah,
That's good. That's good for the anti-Draymond agenda though, because I've been seeing how he made the comment where he was like, "Yeah, like me being Draymond, like it gets me in trouble sometimes, but me being Draymond also helps my team win. You being Draymond, if you buy into that, costs them a championship. So
he cost him it that
if
year.
you buy into that, I'm not saying I don't know if they would have won or not, but it's a topic of discussion.
And he was there when they put 40 on his head. So in the Oracle. So I don't hear that. Go ahead.
What if Steph Curry was drafted by the Celtics?
Bro, what?
What if he was drafted by the Knicks?
Hear me out. What if he was drafted by the Nets?
Or the Detroit Pistons?
I don't know.
If he was drafted by the Celtics?
Underrated one to me, like recently, is that the Warriors could have they straight up just could have drafted LaMelo Ball, and they drafted James Wiseman. Whether or not they keep him or flip him for other guys, that team would have been even better, even more of a dynasty. Because they flip Wiseman for nothing. That's who they picked.
Jordan Poole probably doesn't get developed.
Sixers could have had fucking Jason Tatum. But
Sixers could have had Tyrese Halliburton for Ben
Danny
Simmons.
Ainge knew what he was doing.
all right. Blind ranking Colin.
Alrighty, who wants to go first?
I'm always down.
All right, JBobby, I'm going to have you blind rank 5 of LeBron's teammates.
Okay.
First off, Kyrie Irving.
Is this all time?
Yeah.
Okay.
3.
Jack,
we
you're
wanna-
more than allowed to react to
How do we want
as
to
well.
track this? Because we want to react to the 5 after. You want me to write them down?
Yeah, you can or I can. Whatever's easiest.
Can you do it, actually? Because I'm focused on... All right. So Kyrie at 3.
Mm-hmm.
Mark Gasol.
5.
Ray Allen.
4.
Russell Westbrook.
Fuck.
You can't be doing that.
2.
Number 5. Kendrick Perkins.
Kendrick Perkins goes at number 1.
6.
He goes at a 1, man. Wow. That fucked me. I thought I was doing something with Kyrie.
There you have it, folks. Kendrick Perkins, LeBron's best teammate.
Fuck me.
All right. What am I? Now I got to rank the Celtics players or what?
You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, Jack. I'm going to have you blind rank all-time Boston Celtics. First up, Rajon Rondo.
An all-time favorite. That's tough. Maybe the most entertaining Celtic ever.
My favorite Celtic ever.
That fake behind the back pass. It's right up there with
push-ups with KG.
It's right up there with the night celebration by Steph Curry right now. I'm gonna go 4.
Larry Bird.
Nah. I'll put him at 1.
Okay.
He was thinking about 2.
Yeah,
he really
It's
was.
because he thinks Isaiah Thomas is coming next. Isaiah. I meant to say Jason Tatum. Isaiah Thomas is next.
Okay. Isaiah Thomas. If we're talking Rondo versus IT, I'm going to just look at it strictly from what Isaiah Thomas did in one season and how he played, and the fact that I also put Rondo at 4. So I'm just going to put IT at 3.
Bill Russell.
I hate you because I know exactly what you're about to do. So with that being said, I'm putting Bill Russell at 5.
5. So all right. The last one is Kemba Walker.
I thought you were going to give me Jason Tatum, bro. All right, Bill Russell at 2.
That easy.
Bill Russell at 2. Kemba Walker at 5. Yeah, that's not fair. How do you not give me
It's
Jason
a blind
Tatum?
ranking. It's a blind ranking.
I don't care if it's a blind
You think
ranking.
he's
It's
happy-
Boston
you
Celtics
Think
all-time
he's happy with
basketball.
Kendrick Perkins first overall?
That's crazy.
Nah,
That's crazy.
nah. You got us both.
Put you guys in a blender.
Nah.
Jesus Christ.
Shit.
All right, let's go. Brooklyn Nets edition.
I would do it.
Kenyon Martin.
3,
Darren Williams.
4,
Jason Kidd.
1.
Kevin Durant.
Has to be 2. So what? Now you give me the GOAT because 5 is left. If you want to crucify me.
Alonzo Mourning.
Sure, 5.
That was a funny segment.
Hey, Brook Lopez, all-time leading scorer in Nets history. People forget.
Listen, man, he was on a terrible team with Kenny Atkins, and he had to answer to reporters every single night when they lost them.
That boy was cooking.
At least they were better than the Pistons.
But they were.
I think we have one more guess the question from Colin.
We do? Oh.
Or we got top 10 scoring performances. Christmas.
I like this.
All right, let me make sure.
Top 10 scores Christmas edition.
It's most points scored like in a game on Christmas since 2000. All right. Can you guys name the highest scoring performances on Christmas dating back to 2000?
No, but we're going to do it.
Do your best. Do your best.
You want to go first?
You go.
All right. Kobe Bryant.
Kobe Bryant, correct, in 2004.
LeBron James.
Hold on, give me a minute so I can mark this up.
Steph Curry got to be the worst Christmas Day basketball player in the history of life.
Sorry, go again.
LeBron James.
LeBron is not on there.
KD.
Kevin Durant, second most. He had 44 in 2010.
I feel like
Kyrie Irving.
Kyrie, 2018. Boston versus Philly, 40 points.
Have the Pelicans played on Christmas in a couple
No Pelicans on here.
all right, I was gonna say AD.
What we got is a Magic, a Celtic, a Nugget, a Rocket,
Paul
a Trailblazer, and a Heat.
D Wade.
Whoa.
Dwayne Wade in 2006.
Sorry.
All right, well, he said it. Dwayne Wade had 40 against the Lakers in 2006.
James Harden.
James Harden for the Rockets against the Thunder, 2018. He had 41.
Luka.
No Luka.
Dwight Howard.
Nah.
Magic is not Dwight Howard.
Shaq.
No Shaq.
You said the last 10 years, right?
So the Magic,
No,
there's
2000.
the Magic is the
2000?
same guy twice.
Yeah, we got the 2000 to 2010. I need you.
It's also the most, the top one is this Magic guy.
2000, 2010, same Magic guy. It's not Shaq. Oh, is it It's not Steve Francis.
Mm-mm.
It's not T-Mac.
No.
2010.
Who's a hooper?
All right, what are the teams left?
The Magic,
Penny Hardaway.
the Magic, the Celtics, the Nuggets, the Blazers.
Carmelo Anthony.
Dame, no.
Carmelo
No
Anthony.
Melo.
God damn.
The Magic names coming to my mind are absolutely hilarious.
Markelle Fultz.
No.
Kobe.
You have Kobe, you have KD, you have Harden, you have Kyrie, you have Wade.
It's the past 23 years.
The Magic twice.
You should know this.
Tracy McGrady?
Tracy McGrady is the Magic.
He was on the team still?
He got 46 against the Pistons in 2002 for the Magic, and he also
I said Steve Francis.
he got
That's why I
41 the year after against the Cavs.
Wow, okay.
So
That
we
makes
got a
sense.
Blazer, a Nugget,
Chauncey
Celtic.
Billups.
Correction, Tracy did it 3 times, actually. He also did it in 2000. He had 44 against the Pacers.
Best player ever.
So all that's left is a Celtic,
Average
a Nugget,
segment.
and a Blazer.
A Nugget. Nikola Jokic.
Nikola Jokic.
God
Yeah.
damn it. Get
2
him
years
off
ago.
this list.
I can't help you there. 41 against the 41 against the Suns.
What do you have? 41, 20, and 13?
41, 15, and 15.
There we go.
Good enough for you?
Good enough for
A
me.
Celtic?
I'll take Tatum.
Tatum. Tatum is correct.
Wait, actually?
Yep.
I thought
2 years
I'm
ago, you had
confused.
41 against the Bucks.
That's right. He went crazy against the Bucks.
You're missing a Blazer.
Ding.
No.
Yeah, I said that. C.J. McCollum.
Nope.
Who are the other Blazers?
He had 43 against the Nuggets in 2009.
Brandon Roy.
Brandon Roy is correct. All right. Y'all did it. Yeah. Happy holidays.
To close it out, I think it's very fitting knowing that Ja Morant has entered the equation again and is back in the league. So with that being said, I have my top 10 point guards currently in the NBA today. At 10, I have Jalen Brunson. At 9, Kyrie Irving. At 8, De'Aaron Fox. At 7, Trae Young. At 6, Damian Lillard. At 5, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. At 4, Tyrese Halliburton. At 3, Ja Morant. At 2, Luka Doncic. And at 1, Stephen Curry.
De'Aaron Fox is better than Trae Young.
So I think
Both sides plays better, both sides of the ball. He's a more efficient shooter, less turnovers, contributes more to, dangerous term, but winning basketball.
I just think Trae Young gets way too much disrespect in the league.
I do too. I think he's...
And I want to show him love. That's the reason.
Him and Tyrese are the best offensive hub point guards, and Luka, but because they facilitate more, I think that they carry so much on their shoulders, and especially Trae Young doesn't get enough love because he is so terrible at defense, but he is so terrible at defense, and that's why De'Aaron Fox is better.
I don't think there's anything I could say to be like, yo, Trae Young is better than De'Aaron Fox other than kind of just your personal preference because of how good all these point guards are. I mean, these are 10 very, very strong point guards. I didn't name Drew Holiday, and he's my point guard. So, but I made the adjustment because normally I would have Dame kind of in the top 5. I'd have Trae Young in the top 5. But what Tyrese Halliburton and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander have done this year, got to give credit to them. But Ja Morant is a superstar. He's a top 3 guy. You said it earlier.
Here's the real question. Is Ja Morant better than SGA?
Yes.
That's the conversation we need to have.
That's a good conversation. I think I'm going to say no right now.
SGA is not better than Ja Morant?
No, I think SGA is better
than Ja Morant.
It's so close, bro. Those are two peas in a pod in terms of their responsibility at both ends of the floor. I think SGA is a little bit of a better defender.
It's tough, man.
SGA's got to help. Now SGA has a better team around him than Ja Morant does.
Throw them both.
So that's important to consider when you value the team success of each side.
All right, so how about this? You throw Ja Morant on the Detroit Pistons versus you throw Shai Gilgeous-Alexander on the Detroit Pistons. I think Ja Morant could go to Detroit and make them an 8 seed, a contender, but Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is not going to Detroit and making them anywhere near a contender.
In that, I don't value point guards by how would they improve the Pistons. I know you're just.
I just went for a reach of all reaches.
I don't have an answer because I've literally never once thought how would this guy make the Pistons an 8 seed?
Well, we always compare like if you were to put this guy in a good situation go to the Miami Heat. Go to the Miami Heat. Go to the Los Angeles Lakers. What about the Detroit Pistons? How would Jason Tatum do on the Detroit Pistons? How would, Luka Doncic do on the Detroit Pistons? Let's start talking about that. And if you have a guy like Ja Morant, no matter where he goes, he's gonna find a way. I understand that.
Yeah, I have no answer for that.
I think I might be a little biased on this just because I watched him play up front for so long. I think Kyrie, I'm fine with 9, but that's because of availability and injuries. I think if I want to pick a guy and he's going to be healthy for a game, like in a 2K thing, I'd probably put him in my top 5. I don't know who I would take out, but he's also been there. He's played huge in the playoffs.
Yo, like always, make sure you tap in. Make sure you go to the game. Get the FanDuel offer. You're out of here. Hard in the paint. Does JBobby make you angry? Well, that's good. Let us know in the comments. Like and subscribe, baby.